Quite a few of you have asked me what are the settings I use when I shoot JPEGs for the gear reviews, for the lens reviews, where everything I put out is straight out of the camera. Most of you know that the reason I do that is so I've got an even playing field to test the gear off. I understand what's happening if I shoot wide open, straight out the camera. I'm not doing anything to the shot afterwards. Yeah, I'll look at it and see what's going on with the file, but I've got a nice, plain, even playing field, because frankly, you can take any RAW from any of the top cameras and tweak them to look almost the same. So that's not really going to teach me a fat lot about a piece of gear that I'm watching a review for. So I thought I'd try and briefly show you what my JPEG settings are. So let's have a look close up. Now, I'm not going to go through all the menus, just the specific small little points, just so you can get an idea what we're working with. First off, I'm shooting large 3:2. Image quality always fine, unless I'm shooting pro work or something more serious or more complicated, and then fine plus raw. I do have a little bit of a thing when it comes to this fine plus raw. I can only get one JPEG simulation at a time, and sometimes I'd like to get one of my other two film simulations that I use in bracket mode, and I'll show you that in just a moment. My base simulation is Pro Neg High. I like that extra bit of contrast. I feel it gives me a bit more color than this hipster classic, the classic chrome. I tried it when I first started getting into JPEGs. Yeah, it didn't really work out for me. I always felt I needed a little bit more out of it. Grain effect off, dynamic range auto, white balance auto. If I really need to get specific, I can do a custom white balance and leave it at that. But for the most part, 99.99% of the time, I'm happy with an auto white balance. Now, highlight tone, I like -1. You can go to -2 or +4. That's where I find is my sweet spot. I might rock between -2 occasionally, but -1 is where it's at for me. Shadow tone, I don't want it to get too dead, too muddy, too extreme, so I leave it at 0. I find that's a happy medium for me, and I don't need to change it around too much. Color, +2. I don't want too much on the +4 end, but I do like a little bit of life in my images, so +2. Sharpness, I find that the Fuji sensor gives you a nice sharp JPEG at +2, so I don't go over the top or under, just a little bit on there, and it's nice for me straight away. I think you can agree from the samples that you guys see in the review videos. Noise reduction, now I'm playing between -2, which is what I've been using for quite a while, and I'm currently taking a look at -4 because there's not that much in it. -4 isn't exactly off, there's still a little bit going on, but I think, you know, for what I'm shooting for the review stuff or for my travel stuff, -2 is a good place to be for me. Long exposure, noise reduction off. If I'm going to do anything that requires long exposures, I think that's the situations where I'm going to be shooting raw more than anything, because I'm expecting maybe to need a bit more of the leniency, a bit more of the flexibility of the raw file. Color space, sRGB. I'll flick through these settings so you can pause and look at them. Maybe if you want, I can do a video on all of my settings, but I wanted to show you the drive setting because I use this bracket 1 setting, and I set it to film simulation bracket. Now, my first one I've got Pro Neg High, and you can see you can choose any of these. So I've got Pro Neg High in 1. I've got Astia Soft because I like a little bit of a warmer image, a little bit of a pleasant, less sharp image at times. Now, less sharp isn't always quite what I was hoping for, but it just brings something to life a little bit more than a Pro Neg High does. It's particularly pleasing with portraits, especially, you know, if you get a cold day in England and you just want the skin tones to be a bit warmer without having to go into Photoshop and mess about. A little Astia, nice and soft, that's pretty decent. Of course, you've got to have a black and white filter in there, at least I do. So I've got the Acros Plus R filter, really like that one. I find it brings the skies where I want them. It just molds the image into the black and white that I personally enjoy. That's basically it. Multimeter, occasionally spot, but multi's fine. Take a look at that screen there and that screen there, and if you need a jump start for your JPEG settings, give it a go. Mess about and see what works best for you and your photography. Very brief, very simple. Hope that's helped you. I'm off to shoot with this beast of a setup, the T20, and possibly my favorite vintage at the moment, 200 f4 Asahi with the Pixco M42 to FX speed booster kind of thing. Anyway, that's enough waffle. Let us know in the comments below what JPEG settings work best for you. Maybe you've got a completely different way of doing it. Let us know, and then maybe we can experiment a bit further down below. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned. More cool stuff coming up very soon, including what I do after I've taken the shot.